Good evening. Good evening, buenas noches. Para las personas que requieran interpretación, les recordamos que los auriculares para esta interpretación están en la parte posterior. Mi compañera Leti está levantando los audífonos para cualquier persona que los necesite. For anyone who needs interpretation for English or Spanish, the headsets are in the back of the room. Leti is in the back and she's going to be helping us with interpretation. Si ustedes son nuevos en este espacio, les pedimos por favor que se registren a nuestra lista de correo electrónico, está de este lado, y los materiales en español se encuentran en la mesa de registro. Si ustedes son, if you guys are new to this space, please sign to our mailing list. English materials can be found in the sign-in table, just right on the side. If you need additional information about what is happening today, you can find the pamphlets located in the entrance. Si ustedes son nuevos a este espacio, les tenemos más información sobre los proyectos y sobre la iniciativa de Richmond Rising y los pueden encontrar en los folletos que están en la entrada. We're about to start this meeting, so I'm going to pass on the microphone to Malia, who's our chair. Thanks, Malia.
All right, awesome. We're going to go ahead and begin with a roll call for our representatives from each project. So let's go ahead and start with the project lead for City of Richmond. Present. Project lead for Grid Alternatives. Present. Project lead for Groundwork Richmond. Present. Project lead for Rich City Rides. Present. Project lead for Trust for Public Land. Not present. Project lead for UC Berkeley. Not present. Project lead for Urban Tilt. Shane Wei's here. There should be one more, right? There we go. Community member Tomasa Espinosa. She is here. Community member Juana Hernandez. Present. Community member Judith Roca. Not present. Community member Curtis Rice. Present. Community member Jim Becker. Also present. Youth fellow Frida Solis. She's not here. Youth fellow Maribel Rios. Present. Youth fellow Brian Benavides. Not present. And youth fellow Stephanie Torres. Present. Awesome. All right, so just a little bit about our CSE meetings. It is the first Wednesday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m. In-person attendance is here at the Nevin Community Center. The address is listed above. Virtual attendance, we have the link here on this slide, and it is also on the City of Richmond website. Phone attendance, you can also dial in, and all community members and members of the public must abide by our community agreements. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to round robin and do our land acknowledgement. I'll start here, and then I will pass it on to Stephanie afterwards. So while Richmond Rising seeks to strengthen the economy, improve public health and the environment, particularly in the Iron Triangle, Santa Fe, and Coronado neighborhoods, we do so with the awareness that we occupy unceded Wichan and Carcanaloni territory.
We acknowledge that the land of death of indigenous homelands and the dismantling of indigenous sovereignty was done to advance nationalization.
We acknowledge that capitalism and white supremacy are branches of colonization that have persisted throughout hundreds of years of oppression and are alive today, and contribute to keeping Black, Indigenous, and all people of color from thriving.
We further acknowledge that this country's political economy and social institutions were built on the forced labor of African people on stolen land through violent, systematic abduction from their homelands and enslavement over hundreds of years.
We further acknowledge the exploitation of immigrant and refugee communities as modern forms of cheap and disposable labor are regularly carried out on stolen land.
Thus, we acknowledge that we have been impacted and harmed by these histories and experiences imposed on our ancestors and communities. We further uplift the shared struggle among Black, Indigenous, and all people of color.
We also acknowledge that Indigenous people continue to live here, steward the land, and resist settler colonialism.
We conclude that our land acknowledgement is an active and evolving statement and process. It requires us to recognize historical injustices and invites us in to be active participants in our collective healing.
All right, so a little bit about Richmond Rising. The City of Richmond and 6 local organizations, together known as Richmond Rising, received a $35 million grant to bring health, economic, and environmental benefits to the Iron Triangle, Santa Fe, and Coronado neighborhoods. Richmond Rising is supported by the California Strategic Growth Council's Transformative Climate Communities program. So this is a CSC meeting or collaborative stakeholder committee meeting. It provides guidance on project implementation and holds us accountable in reaching our goals, can make recommendations, provide input, and assist project leads in implementing project activities. It does not have final decision-making authority, and project leads must consider recommendations from the committee and members of the public. So this is an open space for public comment that is not on the agenda. So if any community members had any public comment or anything they wanted to make that was not on the agenda, now would be the time.
Para las personas que nos acompañan, este es un espacio para proveer comentarios públicos. Si hay un tema que usted quiere discutir y que no está en la agenda, este es el momento para poder comentarlo.
So it looks like we have no comment from the members of the public, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. So what we are going to do is review and approve the previous meeting minutes from the last meeting. So so would anyone like to motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Okay, Representative Mbessa and seconded by Curtis Rice. Perfect. Okay, so now we unanimously vote. It's a collective. Awesome. So last meeting's minutes were approved. All right, so we're going to move on to project status reports. Each partner will share up-to-date financials and grant expenditures to date for each project, and this will be shared with the committee and the public. We have a youth fellow who will be helping assist me mic run. So whenever we call out your project, just to assist her in knowing who is who, if you wouldn't mind just raising your hand, that would be super helpful just because she's getting to know each of the project leads and the projects. All right, so I'm going to start with Beatrice, though, on this side for our grantee report back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beatriz Guerrero. I work for the City of Richmond Community Development Department. For grantee, since we started this grant initiative, we have held 29 meetings. This is our 29th Collaborative Stakeholder Committee meeting. We have submitted 17 reports, which, by the way, the last one got approved today by the Strategic Growth Council. So that means we are getting reimbursement for all the expenses that we're doing with the different programs. Our work completed since last minute. We submitted all the correspondence for invoice 17. We submitted the adjusted NEPED package to Caltrans. As you know, a lot of the projects that we're doing are construction, and they require, because we got federal grants, to go through NEPA review. We met with Right to Date and City of Richmond Transportation Division to discuss the TCC project area operations. As you know, it's still in the rideshare program has been canceled or terminated by the city, but we're still trying to figure out if we can keep the TCC project area. We attended our weekly construction meeting with Urban Tilth, the contractor and the construction managers. We met with city staff to discuss potential for Parchester Village application for a TCC planning grant. Unfortunately, the final decision was to not apply for it. The reason being that this grant application required either it to be a tribal organization or unincorporated area, and this area wasn't any of those. And we couldn't apply for this same project area. So the only other option for us was to apply for Parchester Village. But unfortunately, the application didn't seem to have a lot of success. It would not have a lot of probabilities to get selected. We completed PlaceWorks work authorization for the Air District grant. We supported Public Works Park Division with admin and contract amendments for Runway Richmond that now has a new contract to work with the city, including TCC. We presented to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee meeting on the Richmond Wellness Trail 90% plans. We met with Groundwork Richmond to review the tree species for Richmond Wellness Trail, and we received approval of invoice 16 and now 17. This hadn't happened when we put together the presentation. And we met with the e-bike lending library to discuss alternative program operation options for their project. You will hear more from them today. I'm going to pass it on back to Malia. Oh, no. Total expenditures reported up to date, $503,000. Remaining budget, $179,000. Plan work in the next 2 weeks is complete the submission of an annual progress and leverage report to STC. Thank you so much to all the organizations who help us put together these reports. And also, we are going to complete the preliminary review of contract amendments and modifications requests. Thank you so much for submitting last Friday. We really appreciate your support with this. And we're going to begin invoice and team review and deliverable collection. So thanks for putting this information together for us to collectively send this report. I'm going to pass it on to Malia.
All right, awesome. So can we have the representative for Neighborhood Complete Streets to please raise your hand? I don't think they're, are you going to report out for that? Oh, okay.
For people who are not familiar with this project, Neighborhood Complete Streets is a complete streets project. We on the last meeting, well, since last meeting, we passed the plans, the 90% design plans for the city departments to review. We have received comments regarding the different design standards, including the fire department and the sidewalk and curbs condition in the vicinity of the project. Since last meeting, the comments have been sent to the design agency. So after this, we will be receiving 100% plans. And the total expenditure reported up to date is $226,000. Our remaining budget is $4.9 million, which is mostly for construction. And the plan work in the next 2 weeks is to receive bids for the design of phases 2 to 4 of Neighborhood Complete Streets, which is the area connected to Wright Avenue, Ohio Avenue, and the northern part of this project, which goes up north to Pennsylvania. I'm gonna pass now the microphone to Malia.
Yeah. I don't believe the representative for the Richmond Wellness Trail is here, but is he attending virtually? Okay, so do you want me to do the report back? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the report back for the Richmond Wellness Trail. So design and construction update, review of the revised 90% design set, receipt of the project cost estimate, work completed since the last meeting, coordination for railroad submittal, coordination for Caltrans submittal, project design and coordination work with the city of Richmond for NEPA. And then total expenditures reported to date, $565.9 thousand. Remaining budget, $4.2 million. Planned work in the next 2 weeks, continued project budget and city funds coordination, continued project design and coordination work for NEPA railroads and Caltrans, design revisions for the next design submittal set. All right, and then I'm going to have Maribel go ahead and report back on behalf of Rich City Rights.
Work completed since last meeting, continued engaging with established e-bike lending library programs to explore best practices and alternative project delivery strategies, continued collecting community signatures and letters of support for presentation to the Richmond City Council, continued ongoing community outreach. Total expenditures reported to date, $3,025, $159. Remaining budget, $1,335, $892. Planned work in the next 2 weeks. Develop more accurate cost estimates for alternative e-bike lending library concepts. Evaluate potential alternative locations and implementation options. Refine project budgets and delivery strategies for each alternative. Continue identifying funding opportunities and strategic partnerships to advance project implementation.
Thank you so much. And then can I have Mbessa raise his hand so Stephanie can pass it?
Good evening. Reporting on behalf of the Resilient Homes team, which is the solar and energy efficiency project within TCC. Number of homes with solar panels installed, 80. Work completed since last meeting. Presentation and participation in building a climate resilient community workshop with Urban Tilth and Fierce Advocates at the Greenway. Tabling at the Music on the Main event very regularly. A budget modification proposal submission with the City of Richmond to SGC, biweekly Resilient Homes outreach meetings, biweekly TCC neighborhood canvassing. Total expenditures to date, $1.956 million. Total budget remaining, $5.01 million. Planned work in the next 2 weeks. We are hosting our annual solar workshop at the City Council Chambers with the City of Richmond on August 26th. We are continuing ongoing canvassing and complete submission of SGC invoice 18. Thank you.
Okay, can I have the representative for Groundwork Richmond? Oh, sure did it.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Lorena Castillo with Groundwork Richmond. We have planted to date 394 trees out of 1,000. We currently have, last month we planted 6 residential trees, and we completed our annual progress and leverage report for TCC. We've spent approximately $415,000, and we have roughly $677,000 remaining. We are working on our coordination of our annual Arbor Day event, which will be on October 17th. And we're still determining the park location and hoping that it is in the TCC neighborhood. So we're working in partnership with the city on that event. We've started our Green Team program this summer, and it's currently in progress. We have about 8 youth right now participating. And we hired a new urban forestry supervisor, soon to be manager, Jorge Mendoza, who's sitting right next to me. Welcome. And we also have a summer picnic planned next Friday, which we hope that some of you folks can come to. So thank you.
Okay, and then Shaneway, if you could raise your hand, we're going to get a report back from Urban Tilt.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shaneway Fields, representing Urban Tilth. This is our Basins of Relations project. Number of homes serviced, 3 in the past month and 90 total for the project so far in the grant period. Work completed since last meeting. Completed design and installation of 3 water conservation systems for project area homeowners, including 2 drip irrigation systems and 1 laundry to landscape gray water system. They also installed the installed systems will achieve 22,700 gallons of annual water savings. Total expenditures to date, a little over $603,000. Remaining budget, $1,077,000. Does that say $1,077,000? Yes. Okay. Planned work in the next 2 weeks, drought tolerant native plant propagation work to prepare for fall plantings, and outreach to community members at community events to promote and schedule upcoming water conservation installations. And now our universally accessible community garden, which if you haven't been to the Greenway in a while to see the progress, you should go check it out. It's very exciting. Construction update, completed storm drain lines, excavation for bioswales, sanitary sewer lines, water lines, and surveying for concrete. So yeah, they've done a lot of work. Work completed since last meeting, 5 total owner and contractor meetings to ensure that the project is on track for a completion date of September 1st, 2026. Wow, I didn't know. Okay, September 7th. Awesome. And for this project, the total expenditures reported to date are $144,000. and the remaining budget is $810,000. Planned work in the next 2 weeks: excavation for concrete, set up shade sail posts, install wood fence posts, and continue weekly AOC meeting. OAC meeting. Wait, what is OAC? What does OAC stand for? What? Nobody know? Oh, okay, well, I try to always like say what an acronym is for people that don't know, but I don't even know what it is. So say it again. Owner architectural contract. Okay. Now we know. Orchard for All project. Number of fruit trees distributed: 28 trees distributed in the month of July, and total of 210 distributed to date since March 2026. Work completed since last meeting: 20 service visits, 98 trees serviced, 151.87 pounds of fruit harvested. Hired a former graduate of the training program into a part-time role. Total expenditures reported to date, $376,000, and remaining budget is $791,000. Planned work in the next 2 weeks: continue onboarding the new coordinator, complete 13 service home visits, and harvest 400 pounds of fruit. VeggieRx. We have 129 climate health promoters who've graduated. 6,941 produce boxes have been distributed. And since our last meeting, we hosted a veggie giveaway and tabling at Lucas Park Wellness Wednesday, which was on July 15th. Continued planning and outreach for climate-friendly diet workshop collaborations with Partnerships for Trauma Recovery on August 8th, which is this Saturday, and finalize climate-friendly diet events for September. Total expenditures about 1.4 million, and the remaining budget is 1.8 million. Planned work in the next 2 weeks: host intro to climate-friendly diet workshop on August 8th from 2:30 to 3:30 at the Richmond Rising Hub. Plan for September events and outreach, and scheduling climate-friendly diet workshops and events for October.
Thank you so much, Shaneway. And then I'm going to pass it to Beatrice to report back from the city of Richmond.
Thank you, Melia. Work completed since last meeting for the e-bike share program. The city of Richmond met with Transportation Division and with Right Today to discuss potential partnerships and TCC project area operations. As of right now, we received a letter from Right Today saying that they're willing to work with us to figure out and keep the system operating within the TCC project area. So we will be reporting back, because we still need their estimates to know if we're actually going to be able to afford it with the funding that we have available from TCC. So we will report back in the next meeting. Total expenditures reported up to date: $606,000. Remaining budget $392,000. Plan work in the next 2 weeks. Prepare the draft budget for carrying out TCC project area operations and try to figure out if we are able to maintain it. I'm going to pass it back to Malia. Oh, I have one more section. The community engagement plan that we have for the city of Richmond. We attended the Climate Smart Richmond Interactive Mapping Tool demonstration from Trust for Public Land and the city of Richmond. We also attended the Shield Reeds Park grand opening and attended and presented at the NERF meeting. This is a neighborhood meeting that has been happening for the last 20 years that covers Siren Triangle, Santa Fe, and Coronado neighborhoods area. So that's why we attend this meeting. I'm going to pass it back to Rich City Rights.
Awesome. And I'm going to pass it to Mayor Barrios to read off for Rich City Rights.
Community engagement plan, total expenditures reported to date, 7,080. Sorry. Participated in the books and breakfast event hosted by Urban Till. Malia was the lead in the poetry station, assisting community members create their own poetry books. We also assisted the e-bike lending library team with with their community outreach to gain more letters of support for the e-bike lending library program. Gabby and Malia have continued collaboration planning with Rich City Rising Partners for the Richmond Rising Community Bike Ride. Youth Fellows participated in public speaking workshop led by All Stars Project Organization. Thank you, Irma and Ivan, from the Lifelong Medical team for joining in the workshop. Gabby and Malia coordinated community outreach opportunities for Youth Fellows. Total expenditures reported to date, 7,084. Remaining budget, 1.7 million. Planned work in the next 2 weeks. Gabby and Malia will continue planning with Rich City Rising Partners for Richmond Rising Community Bike Ride. This will include sharing with partners the run of the show and bike route for feedback. Youth Fellows will participate in social media workshop and how to host a community bike ride workshop. Gabby and Malia will continue to coordinate community outreach opportunities for Youth Fellows in preparation for September. Richmond Rising Partners, do not forget to submit any of your outreach requests using the Youth Fellow Community Outreach Request Form.
Yeah, and just to touch on that last part one more time, the same as last year, we sent out our outreach request form to request the volunteership of the Youth Fellows. Make sure that you get that request form out to us at least 2 weeks in advance so that we're able to schedule the Youth Fellows and, kind of coordinate their hours and whatnot. Gabby has sent out an email. The link is live right now, but if you need any assistance finding it or need us to resend the email, just let us know. But that is basically how Gabby and I are able to coordinate the Youth Fellow requests so they can participate in some of your, programming. And if there's any opportunity whatsoever where you feel like the Youth Fellows might benefit even just from experience or job development as well, that's also an open opportunity to use the Youth Fellow request form. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Beatrice with the displacement avoidance plan.
Thank you, Malia. The work completed since last meeting on the facade improvement program is we received 29 applications for this program. This was focused on businesses in the project area. 23 actively requesting $332,000. We conducted bi-weekly coordination meetings with the program partner to review the applications and evaluate the eligibility and monitor the project progress. Up to date, 2 applications have been conditionally approved, while staff continue to address the unique applicant scenarios that are not specifically covered by the program guidelines. The marketing was continued as well as the outreach efforts while informing prospective applicants that the program has received enough applications to fully commit the available funding. However, applications remain open because no projects have been fully awarded and conditionally approved applicants may still be deemed ineligible or withdraw prior to final award, allowing additional applicants to be considered. The Buy Local campaign successfully resolved all insurance requirements with the selected vendor and is enabling the agreement to be fully executed. They also began planning for the official program kickoff, including coordination with the vendor on launch activities and outreach strategies for implementation timelines. So keep an eye open for the Buy Local campaign that is coming. Total expenditures reported up to date, $182,000. Remaining budget, $499,000. Plan work in the next 2 weeks is continue reviewing the applications for the facade improvement program, as well as maintain the biweekly coordination meetings that they're hosting and continue marketing and accepting applications. With the Buy Local campaign, they're going to be finalizing the order requisition so that the vendor can begin the implementation. We will be launching the Buy Local campaign and finalizing campaign materials. So we will be sharing that with you in the next meetings and coordinating with internal departments and community partners to maximize campaign visibility. So we'll be reaching out to you guys when those materials are ready. I'm going to pass it to Grid Alternatives.
Mbessa, would you mind raising your hand?
Thank you so much. So work completed for Grid Alternatives since our last time. We began recruitment in person, email, social media, and social media outreach for our upcoming cohort on September 21st to October 23rd into our Installation Basics Training 200 program, which is a program that provides about 5 weeks of training, a total of 200 hours of training for solar for residents that are enrolled, and 3 weeks of which are in a classroom setting, and 2 weeks they get like live training with our teams going out and installing solar. So we're rekindling that program, and that is set to begin in September. We've interviewed candidates for our workforce coordinator position as we're expanding that area. We're seeking to hire within the next 2 weeks, and we already have some promising candidates. We've audited the inventory of the Oakland Technical Academy to prepare for the upcoming cohort, and done a little bit of structuring to make sure that we can have a full, like, academic setup, curriculum-based operated setup. And so we're very excited about that. And I'm going to pass it back to, oh, I'm sorry, there's more, sorry. So total expenditures reported to date are $396,391.52. Remaining budget, $1.3 million. Our planned work in the next 2 weeks. The interviews that we are beginning for our fall cohort, and hiring of a workforce coordinator to begin onboarding. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. And then the indicator tracker plan for the Center for Global Healthy Cities.
Okay, good evening, Jason Corburn from UC Berkeley. Indicator tracking plan work completed since last meeting. We met with City of Richmond staff to review the transparent Richmond dashboard that we've presented, I think, in July to you as a draft form, which includes the data collection tool and some progress indicators. So a public-facing potential dashboard, which I think we're going to review in a future meeting together. We finalized our 2-year evaluation, which you all participated in. We shared findings and drafts from that a few months ago, and I believe that that was posted online on the website with, okay, finally published. Total expenditures to date, 654,000, remaining budget, 415,000, planned in the next 2 weeks. We're working to finalize the final draft with the City of Richmond and PlaceWorks, the interactive dashboard for Richmond Rising, and integrate that into the Richmond Rising website.
All right, I'll just briefly talk about this slide here. So this was, we talked about it at the last meeting. We talked about it the last few meetings. We've been slowly honing in on some good charts that we could share every meeting to kind of give an overall sense of where the projects are at. So we have 2 slides, I believe. This first one is just showing the total amount of budget. It is, of course, a little faint here with the light, but you can tell from the bottom to the top of the chart is 100%. And you can see on the bottom, the more light sort of tan color, that's how much has been spent to date. So you can see that most projects haven't spent or are, you know, approaching 50%, barring the e-bike share program. Yeah, and just to be clear, many of these projects will rapidly spend this money once the construction starts. So we're not necessarily worried that we haven't spent the money, depending on the project, but yeah, so this is one of our metrics. And the next table, so this one will show the percent of goal accomplished for the different goals. As you all know, we've been sort of working on the goals each meeting for each project, and we have each of the partners fill out their goals overall. So you can see here on the left, each of the projects has at least one goal. We don't have the projects listed there, but we do have the measures itself, so you can see them there and kind of see, again, the bar from left to right. If it goes all the way, that's 100%. For example, all of the e-bike share hubs, the location was determined, they were installed, but the other projects, as you see, are not quite at 100%, but we're working on them. And yeah, these 2 tables are meant to be a quick reference for the CSC and members of the public to see where we're all at with the different projects. So if there's any comments or questions about these charts specifically or the progress they indicate, this is a good time to let us know. We've been slowly, honing in, I guess is the word, making these charts more accessible. So we're open to any feedback you have on these.
All right, so this is now the time to report out on public comments and questions. So if any of the community members have any questions or comments based off of what we've covered so far, or any responses online, now would be the time. All right, so we have none reported on the chat and we have none in person. All right, so we're going to go over the committee business items for discussion. So first, Rich City Rides is going to give us a program update. We're then going to do youth fellow introductions where the youth fellows will briefly introduce themselves now that we have primarily a solid cohort right now. Nomination of community member residents to the CSC, Richmond Shoreline Alliance presentation, the Fountain Project presentation, lifelong medical community engagement presentation, and a reminder to submit annual reports. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with our representative from the e-bike lending library to do their project updates.
Cool, that's the first slide. This is Najari Smith. I'm the founding executive director of Rich City Rides, a fiscally sponsored project of Urban Tilth. Since 2023, we've been stewarding the e-bike lending library project. And while demand for the project has been high, we've done a lot of outreach that has been being conducted for the building of this anticipated e-bike lending library. The cost for construction has continuously gone up, which has exceeded what we initially budgeted for. Requirements for new construction, tariffs, and moves made by the new federal government administration have considerably increased the cost each year and put a halt on construction while we sought out additional resources to complete the construction. For the last several months, we have gathered community support for the city council to release money from the ECIA to cover the remaining cost of constructing the library, and have since been asked to provide additional options. Tonight, I'll present to you 3 options we're considering. The original option we proposed to SGC, along with 2 alternative options that we'll present. So this first one that we have on the screen is the original design. This is option 1. It is the e-bike lending library proposed to be at 17th Street on the Richmond Greenway, located directly across from the ADA accessible garden. The structure will include a bathroom. It'll be staffed throughout the week. It will have an office that we will have where people can come and check in the e-bike and learn how to use it properly, safely, as well as educational programs, as well as area off to the right, where the roll-up doors are for conducting repairs and storing the e-bikes. So this is the first option. Once again, we are going to be presenting this to City Council to seek additional funding to get these things constructed. So this original e-bike lending library is a 1,440 square foot facility. It's designed specifically for e-bike lending. It includes office space, an ADA accessible restroom, secure bike storage, and a maintenance area. Creates a central community mobility hub connecting transit, biking, and recreation. And it'll be located along the Richmond Greenway. This is option 2. So this is located at 1434 McDonald Avenue, about a block and a half away from the Richmond BART station. It's approximately 4,500 square feet. The e-bike lending library space will take up about 2,500 square feet of that space. Why this could work It uses an existing facility, reducing construction cost and timeline. It provides a space for future program expansion and additional services. And it creates a permanent location for community bike access. Now, this is option 3. This is also close proximity to the Richmond Greenway. Unity Park is adjacent to this structure. It is an existing building. It's located at 1525 Ohio Avenue. This site was 1,300 square feet. And why this could work? It repurposes an existing building for e-bike lending operations, provides a space for bike storage, staff operations, customer service, and is potentially a lower cost than a brand new construction. This could serve as our neighborhood-based lending location. Right now, it requires an additional assessment of renovation needs and cost. We're still finding out exactly, like narrowing in on how much the construction, well, the remodeling of the space would cost. And we're open to any feedback. I'm really looking forward to being able to loan out these e-bikes and get our program started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Najari. All right, so are there any comments or questions before we move forward? Yes.
Najari, is the one on McDonald, is that across from where Rich City Rides is now? And is that an advantage for the bike lending library?
Say that again?
Is the one on McDonald, is that adjacent to the Rich City Rides building? And is that?
If you're talking about 1500 McDonald Avenue, that's not our building anymore.
Oh, it's not.
But
Oh, okay.
1434 is in the same building that Richmond Eats is located.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So
Thanks.
essentially that building is 2 units. We would be taking one of the.
Taking over the other one. Okay, cool. Thanks.
It is extremely close to the Richmond BART station.
Just to add to Najari's description of the 3 options, option 1 would be a city-owned building that would be operated by Rich City Rides. The reason that we're looking for alternatives is because we know that the construction budget is really high, and a lot of the comments and letters and emails that we have received from community members, council members, have been asking why is the cost so elevated and what other alternatives can be done. So we went to look for other alternatives. The other 2 options are buildings owned by Rich City Rides. So it would be improving those buildings to avoid the new construction costs or reduce the costs of construction and speed up the timeline, as Najari was mentioning. I just wanted to clarify that in the first option, it would be a city-owned building that is new, built specifically for e-bikes. In the other 2, we would have to adjust the buildings because there's a lot of fire requirements because of the batteries and different reasons to have e-bikes in there, and adjusting the place to be suitable for an e-bike lending library.
Any more questions or comments? Oh.
Mi primera pregunta sería, el que está en la Ohio, en el Unity Park, ¿qué parte del parque sería el que se estaría usando para crear este nuevo edificio?
The section at Unity Park, at Ohio Avenue. The 1525 Ohio is also a building that is owned by Rich City. And rather than building a whole new construction, we one of the options we have is renovating the building at 1525 and using that one instead. Bathroom, still have the mechanic work area and still be able to provide an office space, slightly smaller.
Bueno, 200, disculpe. Sí, en algún momento tomaron en cuenta algunas cosas para tomar ese tipo de locaciones. El de la McDonald's, en lo personal me gusta el que sea Unity Park porque estamos hablando de bicicletas. Ahí está el Greenway, está el parque de bicicletas, sería genial. Pero ¿por qué tomaron en cuenta el de la McDonald's? Bueno, el otro Ohio también está cerca. Pero ¿por qué el de la McDonald's?
Hola, yo soy Carlos Torres, trabajo con Ajari. La razón por las otras dos opciones es porque los dos edificios pertenecen a nuestra organización. Es la única razón por qué esos dos edificios exactamente.
Ya. Pensé que habían tomado esas ideas por el hecho tal vez de pensar que están áreas de bicicleta cerca de esos lugares o que tal vez están pensando que hay más gente que usa bicicletas por ahí. O sea, porque antes de pensar en un lugar, creo que tenemos que tomar ese tipo de características o cosas que se necesitan.
I would like to add that the space on the location at 14 and 1434 McDonald is located right across the street from where there was previously a bike shop. It's also less than 2 blocks away from the Richmond BART station, which is the major transit hub for our entire city. So that made that one of the options. The second option at 1525 Ohio is about a block away from the original location where the e-bike lending library was proposed to be constructed. And it's along a walk and bike trail. So it's a lot of bicycle and pedestrian traffic. So we wanted to make sure that we found that we were considering locations that weren't far away from the original location that we chose initially, and would still be able to provide an ADA accessible bathroom, space for us to house all of the e-bikes, as well as office space for staff to conduct the program.
I have a question. Hi, Najari. General curiosity, would you still be, or I know Rich City Rides used to do a lot of like bike repair workshops and things like that. Would you still be doing that, offering that to folks like just in the public, like maybe somebody riding by that's not on an e-bike that was borrowed from that hub? Or is that hub specifically designed to service, maintain the e-bikes that are stored there and that are given or rented out to folks?
We would love to expand the program to be able to provide that, but this was specifically concerned with being able to meet the goals of the e-bike lending library. But I don't see why not. This is good feedback for us.
Because I cycle too, and I've been to other cities where they have hubs like that, and it makes it so much easier to be on your bike, to know that there's something along the way or someone along the way that might be able to help you or support you if you have any issues. And I feel like we could benefit from that a lot.
Absolutely agree. We made a visit to the Oakland Oakland e-bike lending library, and it started off as for over 20 years it operated as a bike station. It's located right at BART, and they expanded it to include a e-bike lending. So they do provide like, bicycle repairs and like service and sales and stuff like that. I think it's like a earned income project for what they have there. So I'm open to any feedback or what else we could do at this e-bike lending library. One of the things that we do that they don't is we do weekly rides where people can test the bikes out in a safe environment, and find out how to use the trails. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ivana Arriaga, and I guess I just have two questions as a community member. So is this open to a community vote, or is this being presented to us like we need feedback? Because I guess just my brain or how my brain is thinking about this, I understand alleviating costs, like building costs, but can we still guarantee that if we do go to this like other buildings, will we still get like a legit top-notch building, like so? Just trying to get some clarification on that.
If we choose one of the other options, the budget for the construction of a whole new building would be going to renovating an existing building. Gives us a lot more possibilities.
Thank you. So I guess just my second one is it open to community vote, or do you guys just want more feedback?
We just with feedback.
Got it.
Okay, are there any more questions or comments from the community members, board?
I just had a maybe a quick question. Has Rich City Rides ever looked at like the trikes or scooters or other forms? I'm just curious.
I'm a member of this group called the New Moves Coalition. And what they do is they support micro mobility hubs. So micro mobility would be like bikes, e-bikes, scooters, skateboards, just other forms of mobility that aren't cars. So I love that. I'm taking that as like feedback, input for how we could expand things in the future.
Any more questions or comments from the public? Beatrice?
The city and Rich City Rights have been working together to put, these proposals together so that we have alternatives when we present this to council, because we do not want to, quit the idea of having an e-bike lending library. Even if our budget is not enough to build a new building, we want to bring this to the community. So to clarify, we wanted to hear what was your feedback on the different options. And I think, Najari did this very well. I want to say that it was the city who requested Rich City Rights to have alternatives. Our preferred alternative is to have a new building, but we don't know if the approval of the budget will happen. So just to clarify to everyone, thank you.
I was wondering what the different costs were for option 1, 2, and 3, and what's the difference between the cost of a new building and the cost of going with one of the other options?
We have been proactively looking for different affordable alternatives to make construction happen. Option 1 is obviously the most expensive. It's approximately at 2.7 million, 2.8 million now. And that's including inflation and tariffs and board taxes. Option 2, which would be our option at McDonald Avenue right now, is currently at approximately $900,000. Option 3 is currently at approximately 1.3 million.
it is important to highlight, and this is on the presentation, the funding that we have left is around $2.0 million, right? So important to say that that's what we have. We cannot afford with what we currently have the construction of the e-bike lending library because costs have raised so much. So the reason that we are going to council is to request additional funds from ECIA funding, so to see if that could help us add funds to the construction. But if that is not approved, we are actually trying to figure out if we have other options that are preferred by the council, because there are questions about, do we need to fund this construction that is expensive, which is what we have been hearing from some community members and council members. But there's also the question about, do we want this to be a city-owned building, or is it okay for a nonprofit to be the one operating the program? In which case, the city doesn't really have an opinion. City staff wants this to happen, whether it's a new construction or a community-operated e-bike lending library. But we wanted to have this conversation with all of you, and we wanted this to be transparent before we go to council. And when we go to council, we will let you know. So you are all welcome to join us in the conversation and provide your input to the city council members.
And I just wanted to clarify one thing. The numbers Maeli said are the is the shortfall after what we already have from TCC.
Any more questions or comments from the public, board members? No? All right. We're going to go ahead and move forward with our agenda. Thank you so much, Najari, for your presentation. All right. So also that was very collaborative. Thank you so much to the community members who provided feedback and also project leads. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and move on to youth fellow introductions. If I could ask nicely for the youth fellows that participate in the youth fellow program, if you guys could go ahead and head up to the front with Gabby. We're just going to do a quick introductions of each of you guys, welcoming you guys.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriela. You guys can also call me Gabby. I am the Youth Fellow Program Manager at Rich City Rides for our Richmond Rising Youth Fellow Program. I'm going to have you guys come more towards the middle. Thank you. We already partially did introductions last cohort, but we have some new faces. We are missing 3 people at the moment. We have a total of 9 fellows, but we are missing Frida Solis, which is also on the youth CSC committee representing us. We have Brian Benavides, who is also not here today, as well as Aiden Rico. Brian is also on the CSC committee representing Rich City Rides and our youth program. So I'm gonna let the youth fellows introduce themselves. They're going to let you know their name, what neighborhood they represent in the project area, and one thing that they're excited about learning more about one of your projects. They got to listen to a little bit about your project updates. So you guys are gonna get to hear from them with which one of you they wanna learn a little bit more about, maybe connect, get involved, or just why they wanted to join the program. So I'm gonna start off with Stephanie, which you guys already seen.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juan. I am part of the Coronado neighborhood. And I have to agree with Stephanie. I am trying to get more informed with all of these organizations and yeah, and something that I'm very excited for is the e-bike lending library. I really hope that it it happens. Thank you. So I'm a little nervous. And yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Daniel Diaz. I represent the Iron Triangle neighborhood. I wanted to be about a part of the youth program because I want to be involved more in my community. Give back, find ways to help bring unity. And then I'm excited for the e-bike lending library and like the projects like the neighborhood complete streets that correspond to it. Uh, just because I love biking, so to make anything safer and make the community be more outside, more active, something that's really cool. But, yeah.
Hello, my name is Brian Gallegos. I represent in the Iron Triangle neighborhood, and I'm just excited about the e-bike lending. Kind of agree with him, and also one thing to recommend for e-bike lending library is also to add helmets for safety. And also, why I joined this program is I wanted to work on my public speaking and get back with the community. And yeah.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I am a part of the Iron Triangle. Something I'm excited about is like getting my social skills and also working with the many projects, especially the Ebeckling Library. I like their vision a lot, and yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maribel. I represent the Iron Triangle. One thing I'm excited about for this program is to be able to make new connections with you all, getting to know new people and getting more informed. One project I'm excited to really see plan out is the e-bike lending library. I really like the idea, and I think it's really beneficial for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our youth applications are closed, but we did receive a lot of inquiries yesterday at the National Night Out event at Santa Fe and Southside Park. So I am going to temporarily be reopening them for some of the people that inquired about them yesterday. We have been trying to get more Santa Fe and Coronado youth. And we actually met a good chunk of them yesterday. So I'm going to reopen those applications and hopefully we get some in. And again, we'll resend the email out again tomorrow in case you don't have that email for the Youth Fellow participation request. Again, partners, you can use them for your community outreach. So if you're doing tabling, I heard some of you guys are doing canvassing. We're doing some fruit giveaways. Cooking classes, maybe tree planting. Just submit that form. Let us know in advance if you want to coordinate. And then also, lastly, Malia, as well as being the chair, she's also the community organizer for our youth program and primarily coordinates a lot of our community bike rides. So if you have any questions about how to get involved in any of our community bike rides for our youth program, definitely connect with Malia. Other than that, if I can just give my youth and Malia a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabby. And yeah, just like also side disclaimer, all of the youth fellows so far have like already improved so much in a very short amount of time. They recently did a public speaking workshop that was super fun. It was such a dopamine boost. It was so fun for all of us to do. They're actively working on coordinating that collaborative bike ride between the TCC projects, which a lot of you guys, we've been collaborating with you guys with so far. So I really look forward to that. But overall, they've just been super, super eager to learn about your projects. They've done project reports on some of your guys' projects and educated each other on them during our onboarding process. And they've actually been working really avidly to help support the e-bike lending library. I think we pulled like a ton of signatures yesterday because Aiden and Brian, the two that aren't here, kind of went on like a whole generational run pulling signatures yesterday, which was super cool. So if you ever need advocates that are, very, very eager to support your programming. Please, again, the Youth Fellow request form is open for you guys. Yeah. I do have a quick question for the board. So Lifelong Medical requested that they could present prior to the, what was it? Oh, it's after? Okay, so Lifelong Medical asked to be moved up a position in the agenda. Is everybody comfortable with us kind of reassigning their slot on the agenda? Yes, can we get like a raise of hands? All right, awesome. So we'll go ahead and readjust that in the agenda. But what we'll do next is we're going to go ahead and move forward to the nomination of community residents for the CSC. So do you want to take?
We recently had an opening on the CSC meeting for community members. As you probably know, because Monse has left the CSC. She was a youth fellow and she was also part of the committee, but she wasn't occupying one of the spots for the youth fellows. So there's an actual spot on the CSC meeting, and we had an application that was left on our form. So we wanted to discuss with you the approval of this community member who applied to the CSC. Everyone has the application next to you. If someone doesn't have it, please let me know. Las personas que me están escuchando, tenemos una aplicación de otra persona que estaba aplicando para el CSC committee. What we need for this to move on is to have a motion to approve this person. Please review it. Take a couple minutes to read through the application, and after that, let us know if anyone wants to put a motion for approving this application. Just to clarify, this is the only application that we have received. We don't have others. We actually received two, but there were for people who were not within the project area. They did not leave or worked in the project area. So this is the only one that we have that actually complied with the requirements. Yvonne is here. Just so. Yvonne, do you want to introduce yourself? So since you're already here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ivana Arriaga. I am, let's see, I've grew up in Richmond my whole life. I grew up on 6th Street. Currently, I am a community engagement specialist for lifelong medical care. I came to TCC meeting one day, honestly, for the food. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you guys for always hooking up with good food. But being in these meetings with you guys and seeing community members really sparked a real curiosity of like what it really means to be a key in a community. One of the things that resonate to me is like I don't like to gatekeep. I am an educator. I was a special education paraeducator prior to joining Lifelong and prior to being a full-time mom at home. So let's see, throughout my journey coming here to TCC again, it really kind of just solidified for me that I am a key to the community. If there are resources for the community, if there's events, information, like I will do my best to share that out with whoever needs that. Because I've been in that position where doors got closed up on me and I didn't know what to do at times. And although some people might seem like nothing faces them, you don't know what they're going through. So I've been there. I want to make sure that everyone has access to all this wonderful information on all this work that you guys do. Like literally, I don't know how to ride a bike, but my husband is a commuter and he commutes at night. So he's a bike rider at night when, you know, it's a little riskier, but if I can advocate for those who I care about, that's who I am. Thanks, guys.
Madam Chair, I stand to move that we install her as one of the committee members here on this committee.
Okay, so then the motion was seconded by Mbessa. So can we get a vote from the board, please? All in favor? All right, so Yvonne unanimously. Yay! Welcome, Yvonne. Amazing. And also I can say Yvonne has also been participating in some of our programming too, and she's always super helpful and amazing. So we love you, Yvonne. All right. So, oh yes, Mbessa.
And I'd also love to know that Yvonne has trained with Grid Alternatives program as well. So, yes.
Awesome, amazing. And climate health promoters as well. Yeah. Yeah, amazing. All right, awesome. Okay, so we want to move on to the Richmond Shoreline Alliance. Thank you so much. All right, so next we're going to receive a presentation from the Richmond Shoreline Alliance.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. I love the energy here. Hope my presentation can also resemble that. My name is Kevin. I'm a community engagement associate with Richmond Shoreline Alliance. I do a lot of our front-facing community engagement, and with me is Mariana. She's our community engagement assistant for the summer. And we're Richmond Shoreline Alliance, so we're really excited to give a presentation to you all. This is purely informational. And yeah, we're just hoping to do informational presentation. So what is Richmond Shoreline Alliance? We're an organization that wants to spread awareness about all the contamination affecting our Richmond shoreline. And we're all centered around environmental justice. And I want to get a raise of hands of how many people know the definition of environmental justice. Okay, that's amazing. Well, the definition of environmental justice and how I see it is the idea that all communities should have a healthier community, should have access to an environment that should be for them, that should benefit them, not be against them. And so that's what Richmond Shoreline Alliance wants to do. We want to make it accessible for our future generations of future Richmond residents or people who've been here for a really long time to have a healthier shoreline for them and for their own community. Next slide. Oh, great. And so we partner up with a lot of different partners in our community. We're fiscally sponsored by Physicians for Social Responsibilities as subchapter. They do a lot of our back end. They support us and they believe in a lot of our work. But we have a lot of different partners that we partner up with. We've partnered up with SF Baykeeper, Sierra Club, the Watershed Project, and also a community advisory group that has been monitoring a contaminated site in Richmond for a really long time, and also Citizens for East Shore Parks. And so what we fight for is just a healthier community, trying to spread awareness and inform the residents in Richmond about all the contamination that's nearby them. If you didn't know, there's over 100 known contaminated sites here in Richmond. And so it's easy to get caught up in like what we see in our backyard, like the refinery or like the freeway or like, a stack that's smoking. But we don't think about what's underneath us, what's in the ground, the history behind that. And we want to hold accountable all the companies that has caused these pollutions. We want to hold them responsible for a full cleanup, a proper cleanup, because the community deserves a proper cleanup for the future. And we do this by offering toxic tours. We do in-person toxic tours right by a contaminated site, informing the public, informing the people about what's going on in your community. And we also have accessible literature. We create publications, inform people through our newsletters. We have an online toxic tour to make it more accessible in all different languages, trying to let people know about what's really going on. And we want to be as mindful as we can about the wildlife, water quality, because sea level rise is upon us. Unfortunately, I have to say that sea level rise is upon us. It's really coming up and this contamination could go into some of your, maybe in your backyard or maybe in your home. And so we need to be more conscious about how we deal with sea level rise, how we deal with this situation that we have upon us. And we could do that by being in community, by having this conversation. And so I'm really grateful to be here to give this presentation and inform you all about some of the work that we do. And this already goes into some of the stuff that I already talked about on why this work really matters. A lot of people use the Richmond shoreline. They go into the bay, they look out, and I've been tabling for so long that I hear everyone say that, man, the bay is so gray, or something like there's a lot of debris outside when I walk down the bay trail, or I go to Marina Bay, and it's not what it used to be. The water is not what it used to be, and we want to inform people. We want to uplift those voices because we do see it as an issue. We do see that as something that does get less attention compared to something like air quality, or not air quality, but air pollution, or some other issues that's going on in our community. And we also got to be conscious about climate change. Climate change is a really big topic, especially when you add on to sea level rise risk, groundwater levels, and how that could spread that contamination more inland to our communities. But Richmond Shoreline Alliance didn't just pop up out of nowhere. We've been dealing with this issue for a really long time. There's a street I named after a Richmond advocate. Her name is Ethel Dodson. She's right here, a picture right here talking to the EPA in 2004. She says, "You have a responsibility. You have been covering up. My brother, the whole family is sick. My sister died of cancer in 85. It goes on and on." Ethel Dodson lived in close proximity from a site that we're going to be talking about called the Zeneca site. She lived in military housing, and she suspects that her family and her were exposed to all the contamination, all the bad chemicals that came from the Zeneca site, and demanded agencies test her blood, her vials of blood. And what did they find? Lead, arsenic, all these different chemicals that's harmful to humans' health. And then we also have another advocate here who's been a big supporter of Richmond Shoreline Alliance for a really long time. Her name is Sherry Paget. She has a business right next to the Zeneca site as well on South 51st Street. And she says the average citizen thinks that if there's a danger, somebody would take care of it, that they wouldn't be allowed out there if there was any kind of potential exposure. So she used to lead our toxic tours and give really informal, really detailed, information to community members, exposing them and trying to spread that awareness about all the contamination that's here in our community. Next slide. And so I know I've been talking a lot about our history and what we do. And so now we're going to be going into some of our main campaigns. We have 2 active campaigns right now that we focus on, which is the Zeneca site that I just mentioned, and another site called the United Heckathorn Superfund site. And what Superfund really means is that the federal government allocated money because they know that there's a site in your community that should be cleaned up. It's contaminated, and there's a site nearby here, which is right next to your project area. I believe it's South 3rd and Cutting, right next to Sims Metal, where the Heckathorn site lives. And the Zeneca site is right off of South 51st Street, right off of Regatta. So we host toxic tours there for the Zeneca site. The United Heckathorn site isn't as accessible compared to the Zeneca site where you can see it, but hundreds of people walk by the Zeneca site all day by the Bay Trail, getting to Costco, going to Marina Bay. And so I want to pass it on to our assistant, Mariana, to talk about these sites.
All right, so the first site is the Zeneca site. Does that name sound familiar to anyone? Zeneca? Yeah, okay. So it might sound a little familiar because you've probably heard of the pharmaceutical company named AstraZeneca. You've probably seen a commercial by them. So Zeneca was their name before they merged. So they are one of the previous owners of this site. First, it was Stouffer Chemical, and they operated there from like the late 1800s to like the 60s. And so, as you can imagine, in that time, there wasn't a lot of governmental oversight. So a lot of this contamination that Kevin mentioned, it happened during a time period where there was no monitoring of the site, where there was no like safety protocols of how to dump things. So they dumped chemicals, and I'm not talking like bleach and household cleaners. I'm talking like there's benzene, there's lead, there's arsenic, there's pesticides, on this site that was dumped. And then later on, when Zeneca took over, they made pharmaceuticals, and the chemicals that were used in their operations as well were also disposed of improperly on the site. So we say there's about a century-long history of contamination on this site because of those two companies. The site has been non-operational since the late 90s. And since then, there have been cleanup attempts because the soil is contaminated and the groundwater underneath the soil is also contaminated. So as Kevin mentioned, this is on the shoreline. So one main issue with this site is that there's so much water. So if the groundwater is contaminated, it's not just sitting there under the site, it's flowing towards the bay. This is right next to the Bay Trail. So the bay is on the other side of it. So it's not just sitting there in place, it is moving around, and it's something that over time is going to come up. As was mentioned, sea level rise is a big issue. Here you see the boundary of the site in blue. The SF Bay Trail is right south of it, and then the bay itself. And then you see the 580 on the other side. And Marina Bay neighborhood is also pretty close to it. So these are just some landmarks for you to locate the space in your head. But yeah, it's a place that is frequented a lot by Richmond residents who like to bike and walk along the Bay Trail. And a lot of people have no idea what they're walking right next to. On that portion along the trail, there's no signage that really tells you that that's a toxic site. And you can't really see it because there's a marsh right there, which is beautiful. But you can't see that there's a site on the other side of it that is severely contaminated. So this is the map of the site. Any other? So this is what we're asking for. Kind of in response to a project that was approved by the city in 2020. If you don't know, there was a 4,000 unit housing project approved to be put on the site by the former city council. And so this is a big concern for us because that means that human life is going to be even more at risk than it is already, because that would mean people living on top of a contaminated site. Raise your hand if you would want to live on top of a contaminated site. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants that, and we don't want that either. So, we don't want people to be like blindsided by this. So that's one of the reasons why we're trying to raise awareness. Like, yeah, housing is an issue. We need more housing, but not here. It's not the right place for it. So people should have the choice to know about this. And again, sea level rise, it's on the shoreline. So we're worried about this groundwater that is contaminated coming up and exposing people who could live on the site. The plan that has been proposed to remediate it is kind of just putting a cap on top of it. And we don't agree with that solution. We're advocating for a complete cleanup, which means completely removing the contamination from the site, which would require like digging it up and moving it, which is a very big process. And so that's the main thing that we're asking for, is that there's a complete cleanup. Additionally, we want the land use designation to be changed because we don't believe it's suitable for housing and really for people to be in the area, as was mentioned. Working in the area is a suspected reason of why Sherry was exposed and has gotten sick. So we think it should be returned to its original state, which was marshland. And that would also serve the community because that creates a protective barrier with the potential for flooding that we're going to see along the shoreline. That would be something that helps stop the flow of water or slow it down so it won't be so dangerous. Okay, and I think, yeah, that's it on the Zeneca site. So that's a lot of information. We are having a meeting about that site tomorrow, which Kevin will talk to you more about later, but there's a lot going on with that site. And the other site is the United Heckathorn site. So this one is a little different. As mentioned, it is a Superfund site, and it wasn't operational for as long as the Zeneca site was. It was only operational for a few decades, but they were making there were pesticides on the site. So things like DDT and dieldrin, which are highly, highly toxic, are on the site, and it's different also because it is right next to the Lauritzen Channel. So if you know where the Richmond Inner Harbor is, there's like a channel called Lauritzen. People may not know exactly. Ferry building, okay. You'll see on the map. So it is right next to water. And so not only is it land that is contaminated, but the channel itself and the sediment within it is contaminated. And so there was a cleanup in the 90s and it failed. And so there have been studies done to show that there are still toxic materials in the harbor. And so we are also asking for a cleanup of that site because it is going to continue to affect the bay and all of the neighboring communities and wildlife in that area. This especially is an area of concern, not necessarily because, you know, there's housing in the area, but, you know, it's water, it moves. So the contamination isn't going to stay in one place. Tides and storms will move the contamination and the sediment in the channel, which makes it spread to other areas. And also, you know, it's water, and what lives in water, fish and other wildlife, and people like to eat that. So another concern is that, you know, there might be people fishing in the area, maybe not even in the channel, but in the Santa Fe Channel or somewhere nearby, and the wildlife has been exposed to these harmful chemicals. This is another map showing you kind of the location. So it's up in the Richmond Harbor, up there in that middle part. Yeah. So what we're asking for with this site, we've been partnering with some organizations, the Sierra Club and SF Baykeeper, to develop a community-led cleanup plan. So we don't want to wait for the EPA to give us, you know, their final cleanup plan and have us just respond to it. So we're taking a more proactive approach and developing one ourselves. So we're in the process of doing that right now. We want the plan to focus on like dewatering and full removal of this, like the sediment that's contaminated in the channel. So again, this would be another big project, but it is a super fun site. So that means, you know, it should be a priority. And so we are in the process of having community meetings and waiting to hear back from the EPA about their plan and to propose our plan to them. So we don't want to rely on this long-term approach of containment. So that means, like, you know, we can't contain this contamination to this one area. It's just really not possible. Again, with the way the water moves and then changing sea level rise, it is going to continue to spread. So it might lessen in that area over time, but that means it's just moving to other parts of the bay and exposing other parts. So that's why we're asking for a complete cleanup of this site as well.
And you may be thinking, how can community members get involved just like yourselves? We have a petition going around. We're asking community members to sign our United Heckathorn petition. It's a full cleanup of the site. I unfortunately didn't bring any copies because my dog ate it. That's just a joke. But I'm sure that our Heckathorn petition is on our site. So I'll refer you to our website, which is on that QR code. We also have in-person hackathon meetings. There's 3 community meetings that we're having with the EPA for them to discuss their own plan and receive community input. We already had one last month, our first one last month, and we're going to be having our second one in September, where we're going to be gathering public comment of what the EPA is going to be proposing for this plan for this site as well. And we also have a animated series all about the Zeneca site. So you could check that out. It's on a YouTube. It's like a 7-part series where it's animated, informing community members of all about the site, the history, the chemicals, and what we have found there. And we also offer toxic tours. I've said this again, of the Zeneca site. They're on South 51st Street. We try to get as much community members as possible to attend so we can inform them. And if you can't join at all, we have an online toxic tour where you could learn more about the Zeneca site. And we also have a community meeting, just like Mariana mentioned. It's August 6th, tomorrow at 5:30 at the Harbor Master's office. all about Zeneca site. We're going to be having our technical advisor be there to answer any questions you may have about the site. Any questions. It could just be like, what is the Zeneca site? Where is the Zeneca site? What kind of chemicals are at the Zeneca site? Why is it there? And he'll give you the exact answer. So we have QR codes up there for our website, online toxic tour, and video series. And so we encourage you all to stay involved, stay aware about what's going on in your backyard, and hopefully see you at one of our community meetings. So we really appreciate this time to talk to you all and inform you all about some of our work and some of the things that's going on.
And just to mention, tomorrow at our meeting, we will also have food. So if that interests you, please sign up and come join us.
Awesome. So do we have any questions or comments from community members or project leads? Carlos?
Can you raise your hand?
What is a Superfund site?
Yeah, I don't have like the exact EPA answer, but from my understanding, a Superfund site is where the federal government allocates some of money to get a contaminated site cleaned up. There's hundreds of contaminated sites all over California, thousands across the US probably. But from what I know, there's one in Richmond. So it's the United Heckathorn site in the Inner Harbor.
Another example of a Superfund site in Contra Costa County would be the former Naval Weapons Station in Concord. So yeah, those are like super contaminated. Yeah.
How safe is it to join the toxic tour of the sites?
I should have been a little bit more specific. So how we run our toxic tours is all along the Bay Trail. We don't get on the site. It's inaccessible to community members, but we walk around the Bay Trail, or we get onto the Bay Trail from South 51st Street, walk down just so we could get close enough to see where the concrete cap is. So right in front of the site, right across from the UC Berkeley field station. Thank you for your questions.
I'm curious who or which local regulatory agencies would be responsible for cleaning up like the Zeneca site. Who would that be? Who's responsible for that?
So for the Zeneca site, it's the Department of Substance Toxic Control, DTSC, Toxic Control, DTSC, and for the Heckathorn site, it's the EPA that's responsible.
Thank you.
This is a different project, but I just wanted to also say that Kennedy High School just got found to have toxic groundwater, and so they're not allowing anyone to go back to school right now. Just on the topic of people that are concerned about this, I just saw that this morning.
And just to add on to that, what they found at Kennedy High School is PCE, which is also a chemical that's found at the Zeneca site. I'm not saying that there's a link between both sites at all, because Richmond has hundreds of known contaminated sites, so it could be any contaminated site in Richmond, but just want to make that as a reference.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. And then also, thank you so much for your passion and enthusiasm. You guys are super well informed, and I will be doing my own research after that. All right, so we are going to call up our representatives from Lifelong Medical. We do want you guys to keep in mind kind of like the time limitations and whatnot. We are running into those. So yeah.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Damali Robertson. I am the Director of Community Engagement at Lifelong. I'm going to try to stand over here. And I've been with Lifelong for 3 years, but I've been in this role for just over, well, it's been like a year and 9 months, and fully for a year. So we're getting to my slides, so bear with us. More. Keep going. Oh, okay. I thought you were not sure. Okay. Okay. All right. So I introduced myself, so you know who I am. My pronouns are she and her. And so we can go. And this is what I'm going to tell you all about, but I'm going to keep it like I'm going to do it quickly. So next slide. So Lifelong's been around for 50 years. We are celebrating, actually in July is our, celebrating our 50th anniversary. Next slide, please. So this is just a little pictorial. We started with one health center in 1976. And then we moved to another one in 1996. So that's to tell you we're around for a while before we expanded. Next slide, please. And then we started offering dental services and things like street medicine. So we definitely have an imprint, and we've been growing and growing and growing. Next slide. In 2023, we graduated our first group of family medical residency folks, and we are so happy that we have that program, and we benefit from the residents within some of the programs I'm going to tell you about in a minute. We live our mission of delivering high quality care to our communities and advocating for the improvement in the health of our communities. And so, next slide, just a little bit about us. And actually, this number is wrong. It's so funny trying to calculate the number of health centers we have. We actually have about 24 centers, like so health, dental, urgent care, and school-based sites. I will say what's right is that 5 of them are located in Contra Costa County, and I'm going to tell you more about those. We have about 1,000 employees, and we serve about 50,000 patients every year. And we are what we call a federally qualified health center. So that means that we see everyone without regard, no matter what the incomes are, ability to pay. We see a lot of Medi-Cal patients, but in Contra Costa County, we see folks who are on Contra Costa Cares, on the county health plan. So just so that you know, that's us in a nutshell. Next slide. And so we have our community engagement and outreach team. And it's so funny because Yvonne is part of our team. Irma's officially part of our team. And I think Nancy is definitely part of the team. And so just a few of the people in the room who are part of our team. Next slide. This is all of us though. So, it's funny because we can't, all of us can't be here at night, like this, but this is all of us. And I'm proud to say, and you can advance it to the next slide, that we now have 10 full-time staff. And there was a time when we didn't have that many staff. And so it's harder to get this work done of getting out into communities. But we work across counties. And I think really what's important is we become the face. So a lot of people encounter us first. The face is Irma's face or Yvonne's face first. And then they come into a clinic. And then they learn about some of the other things that we do. We also advocate. So we're part of coalitions. I am often on Healthy Contra Costa meetings, Health for All meetings. So there's more than just being in the community. It's also advocating with and for the community. So next slide. All right, so I'm going to tell you about some of our programs and projects. Next slide, please. And see some of the faces. So climate health promoters is a big part of what we do, and it's represented here tonight. And so you know some of these folks, so shout out to the team. Next slide, please. So we're serving the Richmond, Iron Triangle, Coronado, and Santa Fe neighborhoods. So a lot of the neighborhoods that came up tonight, we are starting a new cohort. in August. This cohort will be our Spanish speaking cohort. And promoters receive a stipend. So if you know anybody who wants to learn more about climate justice, about healthy eating, about how to impact the community, you can keep an eye out for the next time that we are recruiting for this program. Next slide, please. And then we have asthma health promoters, which I think is connected to what we just talked about, the toxic tours, the contamination. And so Irma and Rocky, Rochelle Allen, but we call her Rocky, run and lead that program. Next slide, please. And just to say quickly, I won't go into this, but we do this every year with about 15 to 20 promoters who also get a stipend. But the promoters in this instance go into homes and support people with asthma triggers. And when we ran the program this time around, I was really struck by how many times people might have mold in their house or other things that trigger asthma that a doctor might not know about. So the person might go to the clinic and get treated for asthma, but may never actually address some of the root causes of what's happening. So the fact that this program exists, goes into homes, supports people, I think is something that is really to the credit of an organization like Lifelong. So, and why we exist. Next slide. And I think I'll just kind of, no, this is important. I'm like trying to speed along. Okay. So one of the things that we're really focused on is keeping people enrolled, keeping people covered, keeping people having health care. And we know what's happening. We know what's happening in our communities, how scary it is, how much fear there is right now, and the ways that the budgets are changing. But we're here to keep ensuring that more people know that they can be covered or get the information needed to be covered. So Yvonne, who we've talked about several times, is actually going to be focused on enrollment. And at the blue table, we have flyers with enrollment information. So if you have questions about enrollment, if you know somebody who wants answers, our team is able to walk people through free of cost. There's no, you can walk in, you can say, I just want to learn more about what I'm eligible for, and they will help you enroll. And Yvonne is going to be really focused on this in the coming months. We're going to flyer, we're going to put things all throughout the neighborhoods. So just want you to know that we're really focused on that. Want to keep people covered, because you know what happens when people aren't covered. There is just more emergency room visits and more of the numbers, the data points driven up by all the health disparities. And we think that's important to address. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. I just want you to know where our health centers are, and then I'll stop. So in Contra Costa County, we have 3 locations in Pinole and Rodeo, and we do have dental health. And in both Pinole and Rodeo, we have these centers that you can reach out to and go see. We also have the William Jenkins Center. And I want to underscore at William Jenkins, we have an urgent care center. And if someone is not a lifelong patient and they're having something that would fit into the urgent care bucket, you can go in. You don't have to worry about, whether or not you can pay. You can walk in and say that you need care, and we'll see you there. So that's us in Richmond. And I think I can close it there because of the interest of time. But I want to just let you know that we are so grateful for this partnership. We're grateful to the city of Richmond and all the partners. And thank y'all for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lifelong team. All right. Are there any quick, actually, just for the sake of time, if there are any questions or comments, would you guys be comfortable with having you guys being able to approach them towards the end? Yeah. Okay, awesome. We do want to make room for one other presenter. So I want to invite up the representative from the Fountain Project. Awesome.
I'm waiting for Nancy to come up. Nancy works for Lifelong, also works for the Fountain Project Foundation. Let's get to the slides. Good evening, everybody. Hola. My name is Arlene. Nancy.
Hi, everybody. Nancy here.
So you may not have heard about the Fountain Project Foundation, but we actually have been around for 25 years when we bring free medical, health, collaboration, alternative, massage, chiropractic, life coaching, yoga, chiropractic, and occupational therapy, all for free. For the past 22 years, we've been giving free services in outreach areas. Some of our partner next is, for instance, Bay Area Rescue Mission, Safe Organized Space, different temples, different churches, Richmond Senior Center, and so on, so on. Until 2024, that's when we started our center here in Richmond at the William Jenkins Lifelong Center that Damali was just speaking about. And Nancy is one of our managers. And our clinic is both English and Spanish, right? Yeah, yeah. And next, these are our partnerships. Yeah. So this is what we do. So you can see at the Lifelong, we offer quite a lot of services. This is at Lifelong. We also offer writing classes and workshops and scholarships. Next. And this is the Lifelong's waiting room on the second story where Fountain Project is held. We're there every Thursday, every Saturday. Like I said, all free. We do have our business card there. All we need is your name and a phone number. We don't need to check your ID. We don't need to check your medical status. If you know of anyone who could use our service, but who cannot afford or have fears of walking into a clinic or hospital, walk into us, call us, and we will have our QR code, and we have Lifelong as a partner, right? Downstairs, there is that urgent care that can help if we can't handle the cases. So this is what the clinic looks like when we operate. It's on the second story, and we give about 5,500 free services a year. Did you know that, Nancy? Yeah, that's what we do. This guy's getting acupuncture. He's getting chiropractor, and this is a resident at Lifelong that she's shadowing a medical doctor that's shadowing what we're doing. And they're giving massages, they're giving osteopaths for family medicine and chiropractic. Next. So this is basically what we offer on Thursdays and Saturdays. Okay, and we offer classes like the exercise like Qigong classes. She's giving a healing music. We offer different classes. We offer Zumba classes and boxing classes and yoga classes every Thursday and every Saturday. Next. So I wanted to ask you, maybe Nancy, you can help me out.
Sure.
Do you think anybody here have any pain?
Maybe one or two.
Well, why don't we ask them?
Okay, let's see. Anybody struggle with pain?
Oh, no, too many. All right. Anybody struggle with, how about range of motion? Let's ask them.
I know. Can you move your bodies, your arms and your shoulders?
Are you in pain? Anybody have trouble with their range of motion? Raise your hand.
I know.
Oh, no. Okay. Anybody have anxiety, nervousness? Oh, no. Anybody have any sleep problem? Oh, everybody. Okay. How about digestion? How about energy? I'll let you ask them about the last one, the energy.
Energy. I feel like I check all the boxes.
Okay. So you should all belong to the Fountain Project. You should all come on Thursday. And what other day? You're listening. Very good. You didn't fall asleep yet. We're doing a good job, Nancy. Yay. Good for you. Next. So this is the result that we did on a 75 people.
Did you hear what he said? They also heard the word free.
Oh, I think that's the only word you heard. Free, right? So this is another partnership we do with an international Buddhism group internationally. This was done in Fremont. Next. We do that once a year. And this is at GRIP, Great Richmond Interface Program. Have you seen this one, Nancy?
No, not
Yeah,
yet.
this is our clinic every Thursday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We offer massage and acupuncture. Next. And we've been doing that for 3 years. And this is SOS, Safe Organized Space, where we have a permanent, like 2-table massage table inside SOS at 32 Harbor Way. Then they serve encampment people. So all of our clients are from people in the encampment. And we earn their trust that they are able to walk in, let us touch them, let us give them massages, let us give them acupuncture. So we've done pretty good with that. Next. And this is Bay Area Rescue Mission at McDonald and 2nd Street. We've been partnered with them for 15 years, Nancy. So we were just there at their block party on August 2nd. So we have done, next you can see what we've done with them. And this is what we have been doing with something called One Heart, where they give us the whole building, this whole building, and we build our pop-up clinic with 20 providers. And this is all of our, Nancy, you've been here many times. You started with us 10 years ago.
Yes.
And we've done this for 15 years. And now 25% of our customers that comes in are from Bay Area Rescue Mission. So I really have to say, Nancy, our managers have really earned their trust. Not easy to earn someone's trust, but we have done very well. Next. And this is what we do also at Bay Area Rescue Mission. And if we can bring food to your organization, we offer Chinese New Year. Every Chinese New Year, I give up my Chinese New Year celebration and I bring food. We go cook for them every Chinese New Year day. And now we cook for Bay Area Rescue Mission once a month, where we cook 175 lunches. So if all free, no charge. If your organization needs something to let us help, just let me know. And we also started the writing classes. When we offered the medical services at the mission, the reason we offered the writing class was because we pass out the intake form. You know, you come in, you write down your name, your address, what illnesses you have. We got quite a few empty blank forms back. Then we realized they can't write. That's a big problem. If you can't write, you miss so much opportunity. So we started the writing classes. Now we have a creative writing classes for 9 years and a professional writing classes where residents, that's a way of them journaling of how they speak. And then every week we offer a class. It's been 9 years. So I have to say we've done pretty good. Next. Yeah. And this is our provider. We're really people. We're real people. We're not AI. We're not robotic. They're all licensed and they are there to serve you. And because also our clinic is what? Free. Yeah. If you have money, make a $20 donation. We're funded by public funders. So we are guaranteed for another 3 years. So use our service. Many of you raise your hands, right? For pain, range of motion, digestion, sleep, energy. Come, see if we can help. Or if you know your dear ones that could use our services, just call, just text us, or connect. And next, and see you there. And this next one is the QR code. Take out your phone. Everybody raise your hand. It's a good exercise. And look at, click it. But you have to call us to make a reservation, to make an appointment.
Actually,
right?
please text. Text is much better. We'll quickly respond to you via text.
Nancy is the one who will respond to you. So now you see Nancy is a real person. So please come every Thursday, Saturday. Bring those who could use our services. We don't ask for your ID. We just need your name and phone number where we can contact you. That's the only reason. So I wanted to thank you and thank you, Nancy, for this opportunity. Thank you so much. And thank you lifelong. Thank you.
He was trying to. I saw you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fountain Project. And also, I had a question. Do you guys accept volunteers as well? Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Amazing. So they're also taking volunteers, and even more specifically, if you are in the medical field and you need intern hours, they would be happy with open arms to take you guys. Okay, so we are running short on time, so I do want to keep everybody on track. I wanted to open up agenda requests for our next meeting. If anyone has any agenda requests I'd like to propose right now, please do so. And if you think of them later, bombard Beatrice's inbox. Don't do that. No agenda requests? All right. And then are there any general announcements that are related to upcoming events, projects, anything that has not been addressed in the agenda so far?
Richmond Main Street is inviting all the TCC partners and community members to go on a walking tour. It's a downtown walking tour. So I know maybe some of you have been part of it. Sarah Wally, the executive director of Richmond Main Street, is the one guiding these tours. They're usually happening on Thursday, before lunchtime. So we end up at the lot. If you haven't been there, we have a lot of food vendors that are fantastic, and they sell delicious food. So if any of the partners want to join this tour, I'm going to send additional information, but they're trying to do a tour for us on August 20th. So I'll send an email to follow up, but please let us know if you want to join, and we can all go together if you want. If not, you're welcome to sign. It's happening every Thursday. Every Thursday of the tours, yeah. Every Thursday. So if you don't want to join us in the same TCC Richmond Rising Tour, you can go on your own too, but I'll send more information.
Awesome. Are there any more project updates, events, anything upcoming that you would like to announce? Yes, sorry.
I just want to invite everybody to join us, Rich City Rides. We do a ride every Sunday. It's our Self-Care Sunday rides. We meet at Unity Park at 11:30. We roll out at 12. It's always a lot of fun. For the one that we do on Sunday the 16th, we're specifically looking for input on the East Bay Regional Parks District Plan. So hope to see you there. If you need a bike, you can contact info at Rich City Rides for a request, and we'll see if we can get one set up for you.
Thank you so much, Nazari. All right. And then again, just reiterating, the request for the Youth Fellows is open and live. If you have any questions, please ask me and Gabby. Does anyone else have any comments? Upcoming events? No? All right. Did you want to do the... Okay. Is this going to play us out? Do I get to say meeting adjourned? Wait. Oh, that's so great though. So this is the groundbreaking for the... I can sing. Oh, right. Yes, the universally accessible garden.
If you haven't seen the construction, this is for you to see the last week cement pouring, but just for you to know how it's going. So you keep an eye on it.
Cool. Thank you so much. That's so cool. Wait, where do I go? Where do I go? Okay, our meeting is adjourned.